Sheana Davis, the Epicurean Connection. Today we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Point Reyes Farmstead Cheese Company, and we're honored to have Jill joining us. And we will have another Lynn joining us in a little bit. But today we're going to talk about all things cheese in Point Reyes, and let's talk about some MALT, Marin Agricultural Land Trust, California Artisan Cheese Guild, American Cheese Society, and Jill, welcome. Thank you for taking the time today.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Sheana. It's a great way to celebrate this great momentous anniversary we've got going this month. The month of August is our 20th anniversary of making cheese here on the farm in Point Reyes. And I believe that you and I met probably, if it wasn't the year 2000, it was maybe 01 or 02. We go back a long way.
I'm going to say 01 or 1000 because Bell and I drove out to meet your father and you ladies when your dad was building the plant.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. We did meet before we actually got started then, because we made our first vat of Original Blue, our flagship cheese, on August 1st of 2000. So we spent about a year and a half putting the plant together and sourcing all the equipment. Actually, our initial vats, our open vats, came from the old Sonoma cheese factory on the square in Sonoma. And yeah, so I'm sure Ig was a instrumental in some way, shape, or form in helping that exchange happen. And he was a great mentor and is still very, very missed in our community, isn't he?
Right behind us, this is his knife. This is Bella's cheese cutting knife from his cheese. He gave it to me right before he retired.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's great. So he's here with us today.
He actually gave me both of his knives, and I framed them both and gave one to Gordon Edgar because Gordon just loved Bella so much that I felt it was the right place for the knife to go.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of those kinds of stories right here in our artisan cheese community. In the North Bay, I've always loved the camaraderie and the support, and even amongst competitors, everyone is so focused on lifting each other up and helping each other learn from mistakes or errors or things that they would have done differently, and it's just always struck me as one of the things that I love the most about being in cheese, maybe because my background was in tech before that, down in Silicon Valley, and it was not that way. But I just love that the people are so warm and friendly and supportive of each other.
I mean, any of us could call any of us up and borrow culture, rennet, cheesecloth, whatever it may be. We're all here, all tides rise together.
Yes, that is so true. So true.
And I remember taking your father and Bella to the radio station in downtown Point Reyes with that gentleman, Raul.
KWMR.
Those two were a riot on the radio show that morning.
Absolutely. They had a lot of stories to tell.
Those moments, and I was much younger, 20-something ago, but to be in a car with those two gentlemen, listening to banter I wish I could do it again, for sure.
Well, my dad is still available, so anytime you want to take him in a car anywhere, you feel free to go for it.
Once all lifted and done, I promise. Would you kindly share your new tomas with us? They're amazing. I'm in love with Provence, and I know I'm going to take it home and cook dinner for my night tonight. But how did you come up with these new beautiful flavors?
That's great. Yeah, so here's the three flavors right here. We've got Toma Truffle, Toma Provence, and then Tomarashi. And Toma, we introduced Toma in 2010. And so speaking of our anniversary and kind of the evolution of our product line, Toma was the first cheese that we brought to market for national distribution after 10 years of just making and selling Original Blue. And Toma immediately was a fan favorite. It's full of these great rich butter notes, and it's got a little bit of an herbaceousness in the finish. We refer to it as a grassy tang finish. Really reflects the flavor of the land and the grass that the cows are feeding on, whether it's green grass, you know, half of the year, or it's through our harvested silage during the summer dry months. They're getting the flavor of the terroir year round in their diet. And what I love is that Toma really reflects that. Sorry about the honking in the background on the farm today. And Toma, you know, when Kuba Hemmerling, who is our head of all of operations now and runs our creameries, when he came on board in 2009, you know, he had a lot to learn about our milk and our systems and our equipment, and he had to, you know, and he inherited the recipe for Original Blue. And while he was able to refine it and make some changes to shorten up the aging a little bit and make it, you know, much more consistent than it had been, he was at the same time really learning and understanding the properties of our milk. And when he was ready to start R&D on new cheeses, we had many conversations about what we wanted that cheese to represent. And, you know, we wanted it to be, first off, a non-blue. We wanted to cater to folks out there that had for years said, oh, we like your story, we love your brand, we, you know, what you guys stand for, but just not a blue fan. I'm not a blue lover, and we couldn't convert them. So we wanted a cheese that would satisfy all palates, but we also wanted a cheese that, you know, represented the flavors of the farm and was really, really great in the kitchen. One that would have really good meltability and be a great flavor enhancer for other foods, and therefore be a cheese that people would want to buy, you know, in bulk. They'd want to buy, you know, a big chunk. You know, it comes in a 10-pound wheel. We don't have too many people that buy 10 pounds at a time, but you know, people that would at least want to buy a couple pounds because it would be their everyday cheese, you know, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, eggs, burgers, paninis, mac and cheese, grilled cheese, pastas, risottos, you know, anything. And so Toma was born, and it really was an immediate hit for all the reasons that we wanted it, you know, to be a success in our product line and to really complement what we had been doing with, you know, the first 10 years in making and selling Original Blue. Well, then it took us another 8 years to start working on flavored versions of Toma. It was always kind of in the back of our mind that it would be a great kind of foundation cheese to add flavors, and we just were working on other things with adding other cheeses to the line and so forth, expanding the growth of the business and so forth. So it wasn't until 2018 when we actually had a customer come to us and say, hey, I really, really want a flavored version of Toma. I know you guys have always talked about it. You know, can you guys seriously get into R&D on it? And so we got together as a team. And this is also a great kind of result of the fact that Kuba is married to our director of culinary, our executive chef, Jennifer Luttrell. And so it was a real collaborative effort between a chef and a cheesemaker in deciding what herbs and spices and flavorings would best complement the butter notes in Toma, so that it would kind of take really steps out of the kitchen for the home cook. And that's really what we ended up with. We chose 3 flavors that, yes, the cheeses on their own are delicious to snack on and pair with wines and beers and ciders and so forth. But these cheeses are kind of workhorses in the kitchen because you can add them to, you know, for example, an omelet or scrambled eggs. And you don't have to add anything else. You get the flavor of the added herb or spice, and you get the meltability and the richness and the buttery flavors of Toma to give you the cheesy effect, and you don't have to worry about anything else if you choose. So the flavors we came up with were, like I said, Toma Provence, which has herbes de Provence. So super, super savory. But what I love is that we chose not to use an herb blend that has lavender. We didn't want that perfuminess coming through. We just wanted all the savory notes of the basil and the rosemary and the marjoram to really come through. So, and you and I were talking earlier, this is like, I mean, in a way, kind of like Thanksgiving dinner in a cheese. One of my favorite applications is just taking hot, crispy roasted potatoes out of the oven and then grating some Toma Provence on top. And yeah, sitting down with whatever protein or no protein, just some greens on the side, and you have a great meal. It's really great. I'd love to hear what you like to do with Toma Provence.
I am actually going to make stuffed mushrooms for dinner tonight.
Ooh, fantastic.
I'm going
That'd
to
be
use that tonight. My husband and I stuffed mushrooms. I have a little bit of ground lamb, and this cheese and the mushroom is going to be heavenly.
great, fantastic. Yeah, so many options. I also just love it paired on a cheese board with tapenade or just some really good roasted olives. It's just delicious. That and a nice buttery Chardonnay, non-oaked, is a great three-way pairing right there.
Also try
The other two flavors, go ahead.
shipped last week. I tried it, and I decided on strawberries and balsamic.
Ooh, delicious. That would be great as well. I'll have to try it. I'll add it to my repertoire. So then we have Toma truffle, which is, you know, something we always knew we wanted to do, a cheese with truffles. We love truffles. We've traveled for cheese and for pleasure to Italy several times. We've visited in Umbria with the Sabatino family and gone on truffle hunts, and we just thought it would be great to do a collaboration with them. And so that's how Toma truffle came to be. We buy it's like a truffle pate from them, but it's all real truffle pieces in this pate mix. There's no synthetics, there's no oils, it's just the real deal. So a little goes a long way in our make recipe. And I just love the fact that this cheese is so complex with truffle flavor, but it's not overpowering. It's not too much. I find that sometimes truffled cheeses just kind of hit you over the head, and it doesn't allow the flavor of the cheese to come through. But this, our recipe here really lets Toma shine, as well as the flavor of the subtle truffle background, which is so good, especially with any kind of, you know, potato dish specifically, or eggs. I love this.
And still taste milk and finish with the truffle flavor, but not overwhelming where you still taste the cheese and the milk.
Yep, exactly.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well balanced.
It's great. And then this one, I always like to talk about the Tomarashi last, because this one is probably the most unusual in the cheese world. And I'm sure there will be other cheesemakers that are going to latch onto this idea. We don't own it by any means, but when we were talking about doing a spicy version of Toma to complement the flavored line, you know, of course, we looked at habaneros and jalapenos and hatch chilies. And we just felt like it, you know, that a lot of those peppers were just a little too aggressive, and they masked the flavor of the cheese. But it was also just expected. You know, there were already those types of peppers in all sorts of cheeses, different animal types and so forth, found across the US. So we wanted to do something a little bit different. And this is a real example as well of the collaboration between Jennifer and Kuba, because Jennifer loves to cook Asian foods, and she loves chichimi togarashi, which is a Japanese 7-spice blend. And knowing that it has chili flakes in it, she's like, wow, this might be a way to add an unusual spin on a spicy cheese. And the Japanese 7-spice blend has a real nuttiness to it. It has toasted hemp seeds, poppy seeds, and sesame seeds. It also has some nori, so you get kind of that rich umami flavor, and it also has a little bit of ginger. So what you end up with by adding this mixed spice blend to the cheese is you get this nutty umami flavor up front, and then it leads you into kind of a very gentle heat. We refer to it as a warm heat rather than an aggressive heat. And the more you eat it, you know, the more bites you take, it'll get warmer and spicier on your palate, but it starts out really, really mellow. Therefore, and because of the nori and the ginger, it pairs great with Asian foods. We've had a lot of fun shaving it on different types of, you know, Asian kind of soup and udon noodle applications, creating kind of a Japanese flavored frittata or omelet, even just wrapping a piece of this cheese in a seaweed wrap and then drinking it with a Sapporo, or I love it with a gin and tonic. I think that's a great pairing. You can kind of bring out some of those unexpected flavors and enjoy that, like I said, that gentle build of heat that you get from the chili flakes that are in the spice as well. So it's been a lot of fun to play with this cheese. And I will say it also is a great substitute for a typical peppered cheese in Mexican food. So we're having a lot of fun using it in enchiladas and burritos and tacos and nachos and so forth.
Fun. It's got a great balance. I mean, I like the flavors and the combination. And again, you can still taste the original toma.
Yeah.
Enjoy
It's not too spicy that you lose the toma in the line. So we're really proud of these. And Sheana, I actually have an announcement about these cheeses that's hot off the presses. These cheeses are featured in the brand new issue, which doesn't even hit newsstands until next week, of O Magazine.
Oh,
and yeah, Oprah fell in love with these cheeses. We were so excited. And so it's featured on O's list, which is a 2-page spread of all food items in the upcoming issue. And it's a historical issue with Breonna Taylor on the cover. It's the first time ever that Oprah has given up the cover position to someone other than herself. And so we're excited and honored to be part of this historical issue on the inside. And Oprah is endorsing us with a 20% discount promo code. So all of you out there that maybe don't even read O Magazine can still use promo code Oprah on our website for 20% off this collection.
Congratulations. I hope you ladies are ready for some mail order. You better be ready next.
Yeah, we're excited.
Congratulations. And during these pandemic times, getting an endorsement like that is fantastic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not going to knock it.
That's great.
Yeah. So we love toma to snack on, like I said. I mean, there's so many great, easy accompaniments. Just shaving toma truffle on hot potato chips to kind of make a sophisticated nacho style appetizer is delicious. The tomarashi, like I said, wrapped in a piece of seaweed, the toma Provence alongside some really great tapenade or olive mix. I mean, you can do it really easy, or you can get really, involved in the kitchen and have a ton of fun using these cheeses in melted applications beyond just mac and cheese or grilled cheese, although those are great as well. But we just love it that everybody looks at toma, even just the base toma, as, just an everyday table cheese. And that's what we wanted it to be.
You want to be that cheese that's always on the table, that people eat consistently, and that's where you want to be. I mean, of course, we all want to be in the fancy cheese shops too, but it's the table cheese is where people eat it daily, weekly, monthly, and keep it consistently in their fridge.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. So we have your Gouda here.
Yes, the Gouda. Gouda. So this is what we refer to as one of our library cheeses. And that's just that we don't make a lot of it. We don't have a lot of it. There's a lot of extra care and time put into the production of this cheese. And so when we have it, we have it. And sometimes we're out and we're sorry, of course, but you just got to be patient and wait for the next batch to be released. Although we do have a good supply right now. So we started out with it being aged about 2 years. But we've been able to reduce that a little bit down to about 18 months. So it's still a long-aged Gouda. What we especially love about it is that it's still really creamy in texture. It doesn't have that dry and kind of crumbled effect that long-aged Goudas can sometimes have. But yet it still has the crystallized proteins, or I like to call them flavor pops. That kind of explode in the back of your mouth with every bite. So it's a complex cheese that just screams to me, cooked cream, a little bit of dulce de leche, definitely rich butterscotch, some toasted almond, all comes through. It's a great pairing for wines. It's a great pairing for adult beverages. You and I were talking about some of our favorites. I love it with an old-fashioned. Even a Manhattan can work, where you can draw out the sweetness coming from both components. It's a great, great cheese.
It is delicious. I love the crystallization, like Pop Rocks flavor when you bite into it.
Yeah.
And again, the full quality of the milk.
Yeah.
So it's a nice balance of the crystallization, the aging, and yet you still get the fresh milk flavor.
So when Kuba came on board, he came to us from a background of making Dutch style cheeses. And he immediately kind of recognized that the flavor components in our milk would just be, you know, so appropriate to be showcased in a traditionally made Gouda. And we were so excited when he first made the test wheels. And we've actually been making it since, I believe, 2011. But those first few wheels that he made, because they're in a big 20-pound format, you know, took 2 years, a full 2 years to age. So it was a while before we got to really enjoy all of his effort with the Gouda. And now we're making more and more of it, and it's going to be available, or it is now available for national distribution. So we have a lot of customers all over the country that are showcasing it. Especially, it's a cheese that chefs love. You know, you wouldn't think of cooking with a cheese, you know, that kind of this complex and sophisticated. It's more of a cheese board enjoyment cheese, but we're hearing of a lot of great applications in fine dining. And one of my favorites that our chef, Jennifer, has kind of adapted and showcases here at a lot of our events is saving the rinds, every wheel, and then steeping them in cream, and then making a cooked custard ice cream out of that cream. And it is just sublime. I mean, really, like all those butterscotch notes in the cheese just come through in the silkiness of the ice cream. And then, of course, just to make it even more decadent, you know, she'll shave some Gouda on top of every serving, and it's so good. Really great.
You need a soft serve ice cream machine soon.
Yeah, we should invest in that after COVID, right? When we can have people back here at the farm.
Or suggested to the Point Reyes market, they make those delicious soft serves. They would do that.
That's true. That's true. Yes, they use Strauss milk for that, which is a no, actually, I'm sorry. They use Double 8 at the Palace Market with their soft serve, which is great. I love going down there as a little treat after work to get a soft serve Double 8 cone.
Yes, absolutely. Andrew's going to be on in a few weeks.
Oh, great.
He'll be talking about those sweet water buffaloes.
Awesome.
So can you share this with your family and MALT and Marin Agricultural Land Trust?
Sure. Sure. So MALT, the Marin Agricultural Land Trust, is very near and dear to our hearts here in our family and for the company. We sold our easements to them, our development easement rights to them back in 2009, I believe. And that was so that we could reinvest in our business. We were actually in the middle of planning a remodel of our creamery, as well as so that we could pay off some other family ownership of this farm, so that we could have it specifically in our family going forward, which is really common in the area as a reason why people will wait and hold on to their land exclusively until they need an income resource to either pay off the next a past generation because of the inheritance, the pass through to the next generation, or they want to invest in diversifying their business in order to remain competitive and sustainable in these times. And for us, it was kind of a combination of both. But ultimately, it was my dad had been on the board of MALT since the very beginning, after Ellen Strauss started it. And then my sister Lynn was on the board. She's actually a past chair of the board. My sister Diana is now on the board. It's always been an organization that we wanted to be really tied to and very intimately involved in its growth and development, into the future. Ultimately, it's preserving open space in our backyard, in our own community, and that's so important to us. Having been raised here, my sisters and I were born here on the farm. My parents bought this property in 1959. My dad was raised 3 miles south, really in the town of Point Reyes, on his family's dairy, since he was a young boy in the late 30s. So, the region, it means so much to us that we want to preserve it as best as we possibly can for all of future generations, not just our own children, but for everyone in the county and everyone in the Bay Area, that they have this jewel that's so close to, the urban core. We're an hour from the Golden Gate Bridge. We're an hour from downtown Oakland. We're an hour and a half west of Sacramento, that folks can come here to the Marin coast and really experience the land and the environment as it's always been. And MALT is here to serve that purpose, in conjunction with all of the farmers that are selling, that have and will continue to, those that haven't yet, sell their easements, so that this land is never developed. It never turns into suburbia. It never turns into, tracts of developed housing. We want this community to stay in productive agriculture, and that's what MALT does. And we're just thrilled to be a part of it, and thrilled that this property, our 700 acres right here alongside Tomales Bay on Highway 1, will look the way it does today, 20, 50, and 100 years from now.
Yes. And thank you for doing that. It's so important between your family, the Sprouses, the Frankies, these families that step forward to preserve the coast.
Yep, absolutely. It's about giving back while doing good, right?
Absolutely. And while we're talking about your family, participating, you're all part of the California Artisan Cheese Guild, which is a very important component to all of us right now.
Yes.
And
yes.
you does such a great job with our cheese trail maps and the California Artisan Cheese Guild. And please share what the Cheese Guild has done for your family.
Oh gosh. Well, I have to say I have a huge, affinity for the Guild. Actually, Lynn and I were part of the original team that founded it, and along with Clark Wolf and Jennifer Bice was in that team, that group. It just, we needed a way to bring the local and growing cheese community together for collaboration, for sharing of resources, for networking, for joint marketing. And I think one of the things that makes me so proud is how the baton is passed every year from board to, new group of directors to the next. And all of the volunteers that have come together and supported the Guild, and, from the events like SF Cheese Fest to the different educational experiences that they have sponsored through the years, both on farms and at different, with different educational academic resources at College of Marin and UC Davis. And now, the affiliation with the Artisan Cheese Festival, which the Guild is really officially taking over the festival, is kind of completing a 3-year transfer. And I'm so proud that the festival has grown to the point that it has, where it can support, all of the educational, efforts and kind of help to fulfill the mission of the Guild through bringing people from all over the state that love California's cheesemakers together every spring. And that money, goes directly, to the Guild and then into the hands of the different cheesemakers, whether it's through education, through networking, through shared marketing. It just makes me so proud as how far we've all come. And if you'll give me a second here, I want to announce an event that is happening to support the Guild in lieu of the festival that obviously was canceled. because it was supposed to be right after COVID hit in March. And then SF Cheese Fest, unfortunately, has been canceled for this year. A group of us have gotten together and to help host a fundraiser on September 18th. That is going to be announced in the next week by the Guild and the Artisan Cheese Festival. And it's bringing a couple of cheesemakers along with Kendall Jackson together for an exclusive Zoom event where the proceeds will go directly to the Guild to offset this year's operational costs, given that the two major events have had to be postponed or canceled in 2020. So it's going to be a really great event. The event is on September 18th. Stay tuned because all of the information is going to be released next week. And I'm really excited about how much money we're hoping to be able to generate directly for the Guild.
If you have any assistance, because you know how much I love the KJ chefs.
Yes,
so
yes, that would be great.
We're here.
Fantastic, thank you.
I just want to personally thank you for your time today during your busy month. You're coming out, you're working on those fundraisers with Kendall Jackson, you have new cheese launches, and I'm honored that you came to meet with us and be part of our cheese chats. And we do these weekly, every Thursday at 12 and 1. We're getting so many requests from cheesemakers and cheesemongers that we've doubled our cheese chats. And some are live and some are not live. Some we're recording and then uploading. And it's just been really fun. We have Clark Wolf coming on. We have, and Ari Weinswood helped us launch this series. It was his suggestion to me right when the pandemic started. He called me up and said, Sheana, you cannot sit still. You need to be doing something. And that's it started, was his suggestion of keeping us a community, keeping us collaboratively together, and reaching out to one another. And it's so important during these times for us all to see each other and relate to each other. And so I just can't thank you enough. And I promised after this pandemic, I would take your dad to lunch and the tavern, and I will be the driver.
I love it. Well, Sheana, I just want to thank you for your friendship through the years and all of your support. And I, just want to echo what Ari said, because, you are providing a huge service to the community of cheese lovers and cheesemongers and cheese professionals by hosting these cheese chats every week. And whether people are watching them live or, late at night, when they can't sleep, that you're there and you're providing education and really entertainment as well. So it's just an awesome thing that you're doing, and I want to say thank you as a cheesemaker. Thank you for helping us all out.
Maybe you can talk your dad into being a guest with me one day.
You got it.
Down. I would love to host him and have him tell the stories from the past, because as you and I know, the next generation, our daughters, our kids, they need to hear those stories of MALT and how it all started and why it started and what's the benefits. And it's so important for you and I to share to the next generation, all of these backside stories. So thank you again, and please tell all your family hello.
I will.
And promise, go have a soft serve ice cream at Palace Market for me, please.
Okay, sounds like it.
I don't get to go have one.
You got it.
Okay, my best to you. Stay safe and healthy, and
you too.
Please follow this afternoon, and you can share it with your family.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.